Hello, everyone. This is Jimmy, and welcome to episode 43, I think, of Celestial Journey. Today, we're going to continue our neutronium journeys. So, right now, we have our two neutron collectors, and they've made us 3.5 stacks of neutrons. Nice. So far, I've been using these neutrons only as like the base for neutronium ingots. Basically, each nugget takes a pile. So I haven't been directly crafting them into nuggets, but I've been doing this recipe. However, now that we have a lot of them, I think we can afford to turn some of them, anyways, into. I want to leave maybe about 100 piles behind. We can turn the rest into nuggets. Here, let's do that. With that, let's see if we can add 2 more neutron collectors to our collection. That doesn't look too bad. Yeah, just about 3,000 of each rune. Why does it use more of some runes than others? Oh, weird. Anyways, lots of supremium, lots of condensed netherite. Anyways, start. So, you can watch this a little bit, but it's gonna take only a minute. It's actually pretty fast. I started pre-crafting some things like these gas pumpkins. I think in practice it's going to take a little bit longer than a minute. Yeah, the estimate isn't necessarily the best, especially when it's warming up. Um, but in any event, it's only going to take a couple minutes at most, and no more than 5 minutes. And this should ultimately make our neutronium collectors for us. Now we do need 2 creative keys as well. Good thing we have 3 of them. So once all the materials get placed into one of these chests, this one, yeah, we can pick it up and craft them into the actual neutron collectors. Out of curiosity, I wonder, can we make one more? We can, wow. I just want to check something. Okay, yeah. I want to avoid crafting piles of neutrons because that has to be made in the infusion table thingy back there, but right now my infusion table is busy doing some other things, so we'll come back to it then. The other thing I want to avoid crafting is runes, but it looks like for one more we don't need to craft any runes. Nice. um Anyways, yeah, right now my infusion table is crafting a bunch of adrosium. We're gonna need that for to make the other creative stuff. So I'm actually thinking one thing we're gonna do today is make these coagulated plant balls, and I think I'm gonna set up a second infusion altar for this. I meant to set up a second infusion altar far earlier, but just by basically always be crafting in the one altar that we have, I've managed to defer the need for it until now. Anyways, here comes our supplies. This looks like one. Let's see. I'll wait for both so we can just craft them together. What's the bottleneck here? Crafting of gems and eternal everlasting stones. All this would be pretty obnoxious to craft by hand, right? Thankfully we have, oh my gosh. Thankfully we have our auto crafting tables doing it for us. Yeah, this is so much better than trying to do it by hand. In fact, I almost want to put extraction speed upgrades. I didn't expect that would be the bottleneck on these. Can I target it? There we go. All right, 2 more neutronium collectors. This ought to do it. 1 and 2. I'll put them in the, well, I guess I'll just cancel the crafting task. There we go. And then I can place these down on our collector bank. And we've doubled our passive income of neutrons. Nice. So I think earlier I said, I'm not sure, I may have already corrected myself on this. I'm growing old, I have memory problems. But previously I said that these take 6, they take 6 days to earn back the neutrons that go into them. Turns out it only takes about 2 days. They produce 3 ingots each per day. They produce 3 ingots worth of piles per day. So effectively, with 4 of these every day, we get about 12 ingots for, quote unquote free. However, at that rate, that's only 2 more per day, and we'd still be waiting like 4 or 5 days to have enough just to make 10 neutron collectors. So I don't want to wait that long. We're gonna continue to produce neutrons through crafting faster than these produce it through just existing. To avoid the potential problem of having to craft piles of neutrons in the infusion altar, what you can do is just craft a single nugget, which is pretty easy. It should only take it a couple seconds. Now, at that, perfect timing. And then you can put it through a factorizer to split it back into 9 piles, and that way you don't have to do the infusion. Effectively, by doing it this way, you spend more gems, I think, but less ender silicon and a lot less time, and time is a valuable resource. So anyways, now that we have enough piles of neutrons, let's see about making one. And this should go off without a hitch. Yeah, alright, so that'll be our third one. I expect one more won't be happening, though. And based on the fact that the crafting plan is taking so long... Pufferfish, that's not a problem. That's not a problem. Yeah, okay. I'm out of inscription tool. Basically, at this point, it's trying to auto-craft runes, which I don't want it to do. I want the background crafting to take care of all the runes. Yeah, we're out of, like, everything to make more. Okay. We'll accept the 5th one and move on to coagulated plant balls then. So this is going to require a second runic matrix, and I'm not going to set it up exactly like I did that one. For one, because I don't need this to handle, arbitrary recipes. In fact, I only need it to handle a single recipe. So if memory serves me right, this is how you make it. Oopsie. And I throw Salus on you. Oh, that wasn't it. Hold on. Just like last time, I forgot the pedestal that goes at the bottom. All right, now form. There we go. So this recipe only takes 7 ingredients, right? 6 on the side, 1 in the center. So I'm only going to have exactly 7 pedestals. And in fact, for this, I'm going to try to cram them in as tightly as I can. I think this will work. Basically, I'm going to set this altar up to only handle specifically this one recipe. And if I want to change it to a different recipe later, I can with just a little bit of like reconfiguring conduits and stuff. But this way, I don't have to deal with like all the different stages and states and priorities. I can just keep trying to pump items into here and constantly try to activate the altar. You'll see what I mean in a second. Let me hook up some of the ducting. So instead of doing like timings and all that stuff, I'm just going to use item filters to determine what items can go into each pedestal. So for example, this first pedestal will only accept wormwood. The next one will only accept dead bushes. Thank you to whoever in the comments yesterday mentioned that the recipe for dead bushes in an alloy smelter, if I put it in alloys only mode as opposed to smelting mode, I do get the dead bush. Whereas in smelting mode, I get the wood ash. So good tip. And that does make it easier to make. I could be drying them, but then it takes, right? I have to set up like a whole wall of drying racks. So cool. Then anyways, the next one is grass, yada, yada, yada. And down the whole list. All the supplies will be provided via an interface, and that's also where the final result will go. So it's the only thing in the middle, you only insert bone meal, but you also have to extract, and you only want to extract these coagulated plant balls. So I'll put this here. That way, you don't end up extracting the bone meal that goes in the middle. What this will do then is, as it starts consuming products from the sides, it'll replace it with the next set of ingredients, and that's fine because the runic matrix doesn't mind if they're once you start the craft, it doesn't mind if extra materials show up. All right, so. Let's see, I forget how far it got. I'm just going to finish configuring conduits off camera. The ingredients that require a little bit of pre-crafting or pre-processing. I just added to our ever-expanding line of pre-processed ingredients. That way we don't need a crafting card in here. Cool. So now all we have to do is set up the automated activation of the Runic matrix with the mechanical user. I noticed that the one of the new mods recently added, Thematic Tinker, adds a tome of knowledge sharing. It's, oh boy. There's nothing here I don't have. I'll make one of these and see how it compares to the one that doesn't have a texture. My hope kind of is that I can use this without having to how do I describe this? One of the hassles of this tome is that every time I reboot the server, I have to like reteach the mechanical user, and that's unavoidable. However, the mode that uses the tome is use item mode, and the mode that uses the gauntlets is use item on block mode. So like there's no way to automate the teaching of the book to the mechanical user. So I'm hoping that maybe with the maybe with this other tome we can pull that off. While I was at it, I also put some stabilizers down to eat any instability events that may happen. I still have to put down some like handles and mop heads and stuff because this recipe is moderate instability. So we do need, you know, some number of stabilizers to at least to feel comfortable. So anyways, what was I say? I made the tome, I bound it to myself. So I expect if I put it in here, oh cool. So it works on generic click. It doesn't make the sound, so I don't know if it's still working. Here, let me do this. If I, just for test purposes, obviously it still has the same thing where you get the items, so all these items I have to delete. I want to see if it works on use item on block mode. It doesn't. That's a shame. Okay, well I guess then we still have the same problem as before where I have to switch the mode to use a tome and then switch the mode back to use the caster's gauntlets. So yeah, it works on use item and it probably works on generic click. Okay, I'll keep that in mind. Anyways, for now I've just been storing these in here because every time I reboot the server I have to like get new, you know, I get a new set of items. You know, when it fills up I'll empty it out, but these are just sitting in here. I mean, it's quite obviously cheating to use them, so I'm just not going to use them. Anyways, let's set this up to automatically start infusions then. So if memory serves me right, to start infusions automatically, you want use item on block mode and caster's gauntlets. There we go. Now I have a lever to control whether or not it's on. Right now, actually I wonder if, will it run fine without stability? I guess it looks like it'll be stable without any stability increasing blocks, as long as I don't have any downtime in like the resource stream. However, there will be downtime in the resource stream when there's like a bucket changeover or you know, when we empty this warded jar and a new one comes down, there is a little downtime. So I think to be on the safe side, I still want to put down some stabilizers. But you see, as soon as the craft finished, the next one, like the ingredients get placed there for the next one. As long as I leave this lever on, it'll just keep crafting. What I could do is I could use like a level emitter to control the mechanical user, or perhaps to control the extract on this conduit. But I'll set that up in a second. Additionally, we can use up to 4 infusion speed stones or cost stones. I think we're at the point where cost is irrelevant, so I just want speed stones to speed things up as much as I can. And man, they're expensive. Right, I'll just wait for this one table to recharge. It should only take like another minute, maybe not even 20 seconds. And these stones just have to be placed underneath the legs of the infusion altar. So if I dig under here, I think the first one can go. Oopsies. Oh, it is. I just have to dig up one. Anyways, they just have to go right underneath that leg. I just don't want to dig up the redstone inlay, so. Come on, get in the hole. That's what she said. There we go. Anyways, I'm just going to place all 4 of these under there, and it should speed up the infusion. And down here under the altar where, you know, I dug down here to place the stones, but it's good enough place to sneak in some heads and candles. Fortunately, I'm stuck. But this should provide enough stability for the altar. I don't think we need a lot of stability here. Cool. So now, we turn you back on. Ability is still 0, is it? I thought it'd be, above 0. Huh. Alright, whatever. We have infusion, or we have stabilizers to eat up any minor instability events that happen, and it still says very stable. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a ritual above this, the same flux draining one, because I think the infusion altar, even when running like appropriately, come on, stupid angel block, that's directly above it, right? Yeah. Even when it's running like correctly, it can still release some flux. So this is just, making sure that the flux doesn't accumulate and become a problem down the line. There we go. Activated. All right. And lastly, to turn it off, I just have a level emitter saying, if I have more than a certain amount of plant balls, I guess later I can switch this to saying if I have more than a certain amount of, what's that thing called? Shimmer leaf to turn the system off. But this, for now, will, automates the creation of plant balls, and now we just have to turn those plant balls into actual shimmer leaves. So I think it's as easy as grab some. Maybe with one hand is hard. I only made 19 so far, so that'll have to do. I think if we just plant a shimmer leaf, each time you click it, you get a handful of plant balls, and they're in a kind of randomish area around it. I wonder if I can modify my dirt shaker to do this. I have a plan. Working in this part of the base is super laggy, so bear with me here. But I think if I grow this shimmer leaf, will it spread up one Y level to the, pieces of dirt that will be shaken? And the answer looks like it's yes. And if I run the shaker one cycle, I'm pretty sure those will get crushed and thus will pop off. But let's test to be sure. Oh, interesting. It seems... Okay, no. Oh, right, because I'm doing this here in the middle row is not being shaken. And thus, these aren't popping off. Alright, I got a few more changes. Alright, what if instead of going down a level, we went up a level? That doesn't seem to have spread. Oh no, it spread one there. Here, did they just get sucked up? No. Oh no, it does work. I might just have to make sure it's timed to not be right as the shakers shake. But yeah, I think we can use this as our shimmer leaf system. So all I need to do is have a mechanical user clicking on that piece of shimmer leaf with our plant balls, and we'll have to hook up the storage to go somewhere too. So using this should be as simple as putting coagulated plant balls in the mechanical user. I have it set to run without redstone, so that the same lever that controls whether or not it's shaking controls the user, and it'll place a few and shake them off. The vacuum chest seems to collect them. Maybe I want a small delay there. I think I might be wasting some by timing it, like by getting them synced with the shaking. Hold on. Maybe if I just put a single speed upgrade? What are those called? Single one of these, that might inadvertently fix the problem. These plant balls take a fair while to craft, all said. Come on, go. Well, I guess that was a bad test because I ran out of plant balls before the first shaking happened. Anyways, I'm gonna wait for that crafter then, or that, infusion altar to make a few more, and then I'll test the system out a little bit further. Oh, but the shimmer leaves, they're being stored in this drawer here, where all our flowers previously were stored. And we have enough flowers now that I don't think I'm gonna ever have to switch this back to making flowers. 20 plus stacks of each flower should be enough to last the rest of the pack. Alright, I'm trying something slightly different to desync the user from the pistons now. I just have a 3-tick delay repeater here, and I think that should take care of it. So anyways, let's see. I also pulled the speed upgrade. It looks like actually it might still be wasting some. I'm not, like, right there, right? Yeah, I think it's still using some to no effect. I couldn't get that system to really work consistently, so I figured let's try something else altogether. Here I'm using a builder to mine those blocks. It's in repeat mode, and it's filtered to only mine the shimmer leaf, so it doesn't, take that piece of dirt. And the two of these should be on the same lever. I actually don't know what mode I had it on before. One of these. Did not? Oh, I know what happened. I don't have this conduit configured. There we go. Now what mode? Yeah, use that on my block. Cool. So now basically as soon as the plant ball gets used, it grows the shimmer leaf, and then the shimmer leaves get mined by the builder. And for now I'm just dumping them in the ender chest. I'll probably leave it that way. Oopsies, it's not getting that one for some reason. I might have my boundaries off by one. But you get the idea. Oh wait, no, it's just that builders never quarry the blocks immediately next to them to avoid eating their own power supply. I'll just move the builder back a block then. There we go. I just moved the builder back a couple of blocks, and that took care of that problem. And it sounds like we are out of plant balls again. So I guess one thing I can do is I can directly, instead of outputting plant balls back into the ME interface, I can output them directly into this mechanical user. Do that in a second, but I just want to use up these 25, make sure it works. But yeah, looks good to me. There we go, all hooked up. So now when the craft is complete, it'll insert the finished product into the mechanical user. Should see that in just a second. You'd hear that tick. There we go. And almost immediately they get mined. I'm not worried about the power usage of this thing. I think it's either actually 0 or very close to 0 when it's not actually mining any blocks. So yeah, the power usage is trivial. So yeah, this is our entire shimmer leaf automation. I switched this level emitter to also, run on shimmer leaf instead of on plant balls, because now, plant balls never actually enter the ME system. Cool. So with that, I kind of want to time how many seconds on average it takes to make one of these. I think we get about 4 to 5. Let's call it 4. We can be conservative. We get 4 shimmer leaf average per plant ball. So one. Well, I'll count the next cycle off camera. I don't want to, try to count seconds. So it takes about 17 seconds. We can round that to 20. So basically every 20 seconds we get 4 shimmer leaf, or every minute we get around 12. And that's a pretty conservative estimate, because I think I rounded, down in both cases. So yeah, I think that's a suitable alternative to the World Nibbler that I was using. And the best part is probably it uses significantly less, tick time, which is good. At this point, I want to start looking forward towards what we're going to do with all that neutronium. So the final goal is a creative satchel. To get here, we're going to need, I'm going to measure 2 ingredients. We've already measured the neutronium, right? So that's one of them. The other main ingredient I'm going to measure are actually creative keys. I think with the exception of those, everything else that goes into these recipes, like, it's not trivial per se. We're going to have, like, the Leonards and Caduceuses here. We're going to actually have to, do stuff for. But nothing is, like, super high quantity. So we already know approximately how much neutronium we need, somewhere around 450 ingots. But I want to know how many creative keys it takes to make the satchel. So it takes at least these 6. I think each infinity ingot takes 1. And the catalysts take none. Right? Nothing here. Yeah. All right. So it's each infinity ingot is 1. So that's 6, 7, 8. mana pools are, let's see. So we need 2 mana pools. That's 4 drums, 4 reservoirs, 4 energy cells, in addition to these 2 energy cells. So we need 6 creative energy cells. That's 24 creative flux capacitors. And I think it's 1-to-1 from there all the way down to keys, right? Yeah. So we need 24 plus, was it 6 plus 2? So we need 32 creative keys. Ooh, that's in addition to the neutronium. So while we wait for neutronium to process, let's start the process of making creative keys. Now, right now I still have them, in the as recipes for creative caches. But by requesting a couple, I think I can start, we can start figuring out what the bottlenecks in our production of this is. If I were to request 32 of these, calculating this crafting plan would take like, I don't know, probably an hour and might never get it. So that's why I want to order just the minimum I can to identify what the bottlenecks are. I did expect this to be done by now, so I'll stop rambling and cut to when E2 finishes the crafting plan. Well, that was less helpful than I was hoping for. It's telling me that I'm missing enchanted fabric. I'm going to have to redo our enchanted fabric setup. For some reason, that RF Tools dimension that I built it in simply doesn't, like the vis regeneration in or V regeneration in it is crazy slow. What I'll probably do is I'll rebuild it over here. Not like necessarily in our magic forest, because the magical forest is actually kind of small. However, pretty close to our magical forest, we have this rather large-ish, well, between the two anyways, between the magical forest and this crystal forest here, we have a lot of terrain. Lag. And this crystal forest here has as much, at least basically as much V as the magical forest does, I think. Because I think they're both counted as like magical biomes. Actually, this is also not fully regenerated. Are these the chunks I've crafted in? Why are these chunks like partially empty? I don't even have crafting tables here, do I? Oh no, yes I do, okay. Wait, but this isn't magical forest anymore. Anyways, my plan will be to build around here where there's supposedly more V available. Before I go rebuilding that whole system, though, I want to try out this magic infuser. I guess both blocks need power. It's part of Extra Utilities, like a biome changer system. Let's see if I can find these. I guess they're called like, yeah, here. So they're called these climographs, and there's like a humidifier. Basically, can change the properties of biomes. And I'm wondering, if I make my base into magical biomes, will it just like increase the V available here? Who knows, right? Worth a shot. So anyways, I'm not quite sure how it works, but I assume it's just you put the magic infuser and the antenna above it, you feed it the item, and it does its thing eventually. But it doesn't seem to be doing anything, does it? I'm gonna look this up. I guess the magic infuser doesn't do anything on its own. It needs to be connected to a terraformer. The terraformer needs a biomarker in it. The one I have, I marked it with magical forest. And I guess we need heaters and dehumidifiers as well, all right? So I added the heater and dehumidifier that it asked for. Now it says searching. Not quite sure what it's searching for. Is it consuming these? I think it consumed it a little bit, yeah. So I think it's gradually turning this biome here into a magical forest. Let's see, what is it now? Oh yeah, in fact, it already is a magical forest in like, a couple of these blocks here. But I think given enough time, it'll turn it all into magical forest. I don't know what the range of it is. But what I'm really curious is, does it increase the amount of V available in the chunk? I guess I'll wait a while, see if it, let it turn the entire block into a magical forest. And if it does, if it makes the chunk more V-rich, I'll apply this to the entire base, just so I can do crafting at home instead of having to go somewhere else. Oh, you also have to set the actual range on it. If you just, leave the range alone, it won't do anything. So I guess depending on, is it doing one block at a time or one chunk at a time? Not actually sure. But I guess, yeah, I set its range to 64, which is as high as it goes. And it's just slowly turning it into magical forest. We'll see what the net effect is. This seems like it's a bust. So I brought the range down a bit so that only, we can test it in just this chunk here. Well, we do get the pretty green grass of magical forests. I think the V amount is already set, like when it's generated, and thus we're not going anywhere. Oh well. I was setting up the alternate cloth crafting stuff over here, and I was like, why the heck does my smart cable not connect to my controller? And it's such a good 5 minutes debugging it. That's not in every controller. I'm not the smartest person ever. So I've more or less duplicated the setup here in this magical biome, and it's functioning the same, with the exception of I actually get V regen here, which is nice because I would like to be able to reuse these crafting tables more than once. So I just go from crafting table to table and have at it. Now that we've crafted our cloths, whatever they were called, this plan should be able to succeed in crafting. And since I expect it to succeed, it should be able to calculate much faster. Come on, AE system, you got this. I believe in you. I no longer believe. Alright, there we go. I can make 2 creative keys. Of course, this doesn't actually tell me what the bottleneck is because it succeeds. So I'll start that, and then I'll order 2 more, and maybe this time it'll tell me what I'm missing. Alright, this time the plan failed, so let's see what the missing bits are. Workshop bookcases. Alright, I have to raid a few more IceKea homes. Sucks for them. Blood orb, that's just because our blood orb's in use, and netherite ingots. What am I getting these from? I think they're coming from one of our spawners? Yeah, our netherite ingots are coming from our mob crusher here killing watchers. Why isn't he dying anymore? Anyways, we actually get them incredibly quickly, like stack and a half plus per watcher. However, we also use a lot of them, so I think we just need more watchers. Good news is, the easiest way to get more watchers is to spawn more watchers. So by bumping that rate up, as long as we can produce these eyes fast enough, which I think they're being made here. Yeah, so this uses some of that netherite. I think our bottleneck might be a molten stone availability. You know what? Let's see. If we're fighting bottlenecks, let's turn that into... what's it called? There you go, item translocators, because these move items a lot faster than item conduits do when you give them a piece of glowstone. Alright, yeah, we can produce Call of the Watchers plenty fast. And I think all the items that go into this are being spawned by the various other spawners here, like this one, so on and so forth. So by bumping up the rate that we spawn watchers, in fact, let's go all the way to 20. Can we go that high? Yeah, it looks like it's fine with it. That'll increase our rate of netherite production quite significantly. Cool, so that, in a way, addresses that bottleneck. And I realize we are out of time for today. So before we sign off, let's see if we can get one more neutron collector. Doesn't look like it. Oh well. Tomorrow then. In any event, I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I'll go raid IceKea, I think, between episodes. Tomorrow we'll come back and continue our journey down, neutrons and a bunch of creative keys on our way to the creative satchel. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and I hope to see you in the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.